What's up, Panda Nation? Peter Von Panda here. Hey, I want to address something that I think is a fake news story, and I kind of just want to come at it from an analytical angle. I'm not going to really crunch some, detailed numbers here, but I'm skeptical. I look at these, I look at numbers here, and I'm saying that I think some things are suspicious. One of the things that took down Bernie Madoff was kind of constant scrutiny of his performance numbers on his funds, that ultimately didn't exist. And in the same way, I think one of the things that I want to talk to you about is the Santa Claus issue. So let's just talk about first of all, Santa Claus. Kris Kringle, the jolly fat man that delivers Christmas presents each year to kids. And let's just look at it from the U.S. only perspective, right? I mean, obviously, the belief that Santa Claus delivers gifts to children all over the world is probably kind of a number crunching problem that I don't want to tackle here. But if we look at it just from a U.S. centric view, one of the things that I was thinking about is when you fly from L.A., or San Diego, let's call it Southern California, to New York, you're talking about almost a 5-hour flight time at near supersonic speeds, right? 600 miles an hour cruising speeds. And so you're talking about 5 hours to cross the U.S. And we're not even talking about stopping, at every house that you would cross. You're just talking about one line across the United States. And then to kind of backtrack, you would also have to do another 5 hours. And that would really only get you all of the houses on those particular lines. Now, my issue here is that to go from LA to New York and then back again, it's like 10 hours. Now, if kids go to sleep at, 7 o'clock on Christmas Eve, and then wake up at 6 or 7 a.m. on Christmas Day, you really only have, about 11 or 12 hours to deliver all of these presents. And so my issue is that's only going to give you kind of the ability to cross the United States twice. And so, talk about all the houses that are spread out from those lines, up to the Dakotas and down to Texas. All of a sudden, just, I think from a logical perspective, I'm really having trouble seeing how you're covering all those houses. And then talking about, the delivery time per house, right? To the amount of time that you would spend at each house at 600 miles an hour is a fraction of a second. And so the time per house seems to kind of be an area that I'm struggling with too. Now, let's also talk about the economics of it. It's kind of like Game of Thrones. I love how they cover the economics. But the cost of toys, the funds, employee and personnel costs. So let's just call it cost of toys. Let's call it 100 million households in the United States with 2 kids per house. Let's just simplify it. Let's say 100 million kids that would get presents at, say, $5 per present. If Santa is only going to bring 1 present per kid, now you're talking about $500 million in toys, right? So somehow there has to be some sort of economic machine to raise $500 million a year just to cover the cost of those toys. And now let's also talk about 100 million toys, which would probably be about 10 million toys needing to be procured per month, or 8 million toys per month procured, which is probably going to take elves, the amount of work that it might take Amazon. And I think I just saw Amazon has something like 500,000 employees, according to this article from October 2017. 500,000 employees. Let's just say that Santa runs an Amazon-like operation and has 500,000 employees, but only pays them, let's call it $15 an hour. So you have 2,000 working hours times $500,000 times 15. That's like $15 billion. I think, as if my math is right, $15 billion a year in payroll costs, not including, insurance and benefits and time off and housing and facilities and all that kind of good stuff. So, just the cost of this, I mean, we're talking about an operation which is like a $15 billion operation for just salary and wages. Another $500 million in just kind of raw materials costs, not including like housing, the warehousing of all these toys for the 364 days a year that you would need to house them, because you're going to deliver them all in the one night. And not even talking about the reindeer and the sleigh and the cost of running those, right? Obviously, to have that kind of operation, as well as the the carrying and luggage capacity for that sleigh, which has obviously got to be a bit larger than a normal sedan sized sleigh. It's got to be large enough to be able to carry 100 million toys, or I don't know if you're resupplying or you have depots along the way, but you have that issue. As well as, let's talk about accessing the home and the security issue. So presumably he comes down the chimney. Now, most chimneys have flues. Most of those chimneys are pretty small. And in fact, lots of homes don't even have chimneys. Talk about kind of community-based homes like townhouses or condos and things like this. I mean, you get into all these other problems, and I would think with the proliferation of phone-based cameras, as well as like the Ring doorbell security cam, Nest cams, there would probably be more evidence of him breaching into these homes, leaving packages, and then, like I said, and so on and so forth, yada yada yada. The delivery time per house problem that we already talked about. So just kind of talking through some of these things. If you have evidence to the contrary, I would love to see it, but as I think more about it and just think a little bit more critically about the whole operation, personally, I'm thinking that Santa is a myth. And I guess I don't have any hard evidence to prove one way or the other on it. But at this point, I just can't see that this is, a true legitimate operation. It's hard to figure out how that would happen. So just wanted to leave that there. Not be a buzzkill, and we'll see. Maybe that puts me in the naughty list, and I don't get anything wicked awesome this Christmas. But if he wants to prove me wrong, there are a lot of things that I would really, really love, like a Honda S2000, a vacation home, or my own jet. So, I know that I'm probably busting the $5 per gift per child limit there, but just something I want to throw out there. So shoot me your thoughts on it, and I'll look forward to a lively debate. Peter Von Panda out.